Tonight on NewsWatch Ole Miss, a protest gathered on campus today to fight the vaccine mandate for university employees. NewsWatch was there and talked to the protest organizer. We'll hear from him coming up. The Centers for Disease Control is meeting today to make a recommendation on emergency use for Pfizer's coronavirus vaccine in children aged 5 to 11. Find out the latest on the push for child vaccinations. And today is Election Day across America, and multiple tight governor races are in the balance, particularly in the swing state of Virginia. We'll have a breakdown of today's elections coming up. NewsWatch Ole Miss starts now. Good evening and welcome to NewsWatch Ole Miss. I'm Hannah Deere. Today at noon, a group gathered at the Walk of Champions holding signs and chanting against mandated vaccines. NewsWatch reporter Justin Class caught up with the protesters' organizer to find out why he put it together.
Bam, 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 that's choice time, bam.
The Ole Miss campus saw its first protest today in light of the IHL's recent vaccine mandate for all university employees. A gathering of students, some who are employed by the university and some not, as well as faculty and staff and alumni, marched from the Walk of Champions to the Lyceum steps in opposition to the mandate.
Hear our voice, we want choice. Hear our voice, we want choice.
Protest organizer Damian Harbin, who is vaccinated himself, said he doesn't want the IHL or the university administration making a decision for people on a vaccine this controversial.
It should be a choice between you and your personal doctor. Sit down with your doctor, talk to him, talk about the risk of getting COVID versus the risk of you having the vaccine.
He also said the university is just worried about saving face and funding.
This is my mask. This complies with university code. They don't care about COVID. They are here to make it look good. That is it.
Chancellor Glenn Boyce was out of his office when the protest reached the Lyceum steps, and Harbin said he has not responded to any of their attempts to reach out and discuss campus coronavirus policy. Justin Class, NewsWatch, Ole Miss.
The protesters met some opposition on their brief march, mostly consisting of shouts from students passing by. The mandate requires all university employees to be fully vaccinated by December 8th. The IHL's vaccine mandate is just a result of one of many federal vaccine mandates, which are also seeing increased opposition. CNN's Isabel Rosales has a broader look at national resistance to the mandates.
Escalating tensions over COVID-19 vaccine mandates.
We're pro-vaccine, we're just anti-mandate.
In New York City, a spike of sick call-outs. About 2,300 firefighters out since the vaccine mandate went into effect Monday. Mayor Bill de Blasio warns there will be consequences.
The folks who are faking it are doing an immense disservice to the people of the city and to their fellow members of service.
The city now investigating whether the firefighters union coordinated a protest sick-out.
The assertion that thousands of firefighters are faking on medical leave, we reject. The staffing issues in this city are not germane to medical leave.
Despite the battle over mandates, de Blasio says they work. In the last 13 days, 24,000 more city workers got the shot. About 92% of city employees have received at least one dose. So far, less than 3% of the city's workforce is on unpaid leave for refusing to comply. The mayor insists New Yorkers remain safe with no service disruption. Los Angeles County Sheriff refusing to enforce a vaccine mandate on county employees, including his deputies.
We have to provide public safety, and right now I'm severely understaffed as it is. To throw this on top of that, you're really tempting the hand of fate.
In Washington, Isabel Rosales.
A new mandate will go into effect in the coming days, which will require all private businesses with 100 or more employees to mandate vaccines or weekly coronavirus tests for their unvaccinated employees. And as we speak, the Centers for Disease Control is meeting to decide whether or not it will recommend vaccines for children 5 to 11 years old. But Pfizer and many state governments, including Mississippi, are already preparing to administer doses. CNN's Mandy Gaither has the details.
It's a moment many parents and pediatricians have been waiting for.
It's very, very vital that children get vaccinated against COVID so that we can put this pandemic, fortunately, behind us.
This COVID-19 vaccine, formulated for around 28 million U.S. kids ages 5 to 11, is already being shipped out.
We began the process of moving 15 million doses from Pfizer's freezers and facilities to distribution centers. There, millions of doses are being packed with dry ice and tracking labels before they're loaded into small, specialized shipping containers.
The FDA's emergency use authorization issued Friday for Pfizer's COVID-19 vaccine in younger children allowed that to happen. But even before the authorization, top U.S. health officials were preparing.
We asked states, pharmacies, and community health centers to place their initial orders and submit their detailed distribution plans.
The orange label indicates it's a dose for kids ages 5 to 11, only a third of what's given to those 12 and older. The doses are being placed in trucks and airplanes and sent to more than 20,000 locations.
Over the next couple of days, several million doses will start arriving at local pediatricians and family doctors' offices, pharmacies, children's hospitals, community health centers, rural health clinics, and other locations.
And the White House says more doses will be packed and delivered each day over the next week as more sites come online and the U.S. puts a focus on protecting younger children. For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
White House officials say that if the CDC recommends vaccine today, a vaccination program for that age group will be up and running starting next week. Many children are unknown victims of COVID-19. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention released new COVID data today showing that infected children experience mild or no symptoms. About 6 children infected were infected for every undiagnosed case. About 38% of children between the ages of 5 and 11 and teens ages 12 to 17 have gotten COVID-19. This data is released as clinics, hospitals, and pediatricians' offices wait for the CDC to give the green light on administering Pfizer doses to children ages 5 to 11. Here in Mississippi, the new coronavirus cases are up slightly from recent reports. The Mississippi State Department of Health reported 455 new coronavirus cases today. That brings the state's total cases over 505,000 since the onset of the pandemic. The state also identified 31 new coronavirus-related deaths, dating all the way back to last December. At the state capitol, Governor Tate Reeves is putting tighter limits on Mississippi's medical marijuana proposal. According to WLBT, Reeves announced at a news conference on Monday that he wants greater regulation on the amount of marijuana people could buy, as well as a reduction of the content of THC. Reeves said he does not want a program that allows for recreational use of the drug, but rather a true medical marijuana program. If he and the negotiators can't agree on a plan, Reeves may call legislators into special session. The next regular legislative session for the state of Mississippi starts in January. Back on campus, the University of Mississippi is experiencing an enormous boost in enrollment. Ole Miss enrolled 21,856 students across its 7 campuses for fall of 2021. 3,584 of these students are freshmen. That is an 18% increase in freshman enrollment, the largest increase in the number of incoming freshmen from one fall to the next in university history. The university's retention rate also exceeds the most recent national average by 15 percentage points. Ole Miss's overall enrollment figure represents a nearly 1% increase. Nothing planned Sunday? Head down to the square from 11 to 3 to shop Oxford's Holiday Open House. The Oxford-Lafayette County Chamber of Commerce is hosting the special shopping event featuring crafts, a grand gift basket raffle, holiday music, hot chocolate, cookies, and much more. Go to www.oxfordmississippi.com for more details. Also on the square, Oxford has a new park in the works. It's one step closer to being official now that the Courthouse Square Preservation Commission has approved the demolition of the old RSVP building. According to Hotty Toddy News, the 1970s building is in rough shape with a permanently damaged roof and underground status. The building, a time capsule, City Hall's chiller, and a magnolia tree will all be removed from the space between the square and the parking lot behind City Hall to make room for the proposed park. It will provide 7,460-foot green space, complete with tables and chairs, a seating wall, water features, a small stage, and low-voltage lighting. There may be only a few things on the ballot in parts of Mississippi, but many cities and states are facing critical elections today, with everything from the governor's seat to police departments on the line. We'll take a look at Decision 2021 coming up, but first, here's a look at your current conditions.
Severe weather can strike anytime, anywhere, but there's a simple way to stay safe. Hey, Jim Cantore here. I stay safe in dangerous weather by planning ahead. You can stay safe too with a few easy steps. Build an inexpensive kit with supplies for your family's needs. Write down important information like phone numbers and medications. Always talk with your family and remember any pets in your planning. Be ready, be safe. Start your plan today at ready.gov/plan.
I want to eat apples and bananas. I need to eat apples and bananas. Why can't I eat apples and bananas?
Support the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks to help provide meals to those in need. Join us at feedingamerica.org.
Last week, Brandon met a girl on a dating app. One day after work, he finally found the courage to ask her out. No answer. He started to panic. Was he being too pushy? Maybe it was too...
Hey, sorry I didn't respond. I was driving. I would love to go on a date. How does tonight sound?
Brandon tried to play it cool, but inside he knew. A girl so smart, so responsible, she must be a keeper.
Learn to cough and sneeze with your pal, Grover. Step 1. Realize you're about to sneeze. Step 2. Move your elbow toward your nose and mouth. Step 3. Gesundheit. 1, 2, 3. Remember to cough and sneeze into your arm or
It's so sad. It's not.
Multiple studies have shown that marijuana can slow both driver reaction and response time, which can be really dangerous. He's here. He's here.
Wait.
What?
I can't drive.
Why? I'm high. Oh.
The governor race in Virginia has been making headlines for months, overshadowing multiple other high-profile elections across the country today. CNN's Chris Wynn has a look at today's votes.
Election Day in the U.S. The results of these off-year races potentially providing roadmaps to the 2022 midterms and the 2024 presidential contest. In Virginia, national focus on a statewide race. Former Democratic Governor Terry McAuliffe seeking the office again.
And I'm running again. I got big, bold plans of where I want to take this state.
Really nice to see you.
But is facing a tight contest against Republican business executive Glenn Youngkin.
I've just felt this great surge of momentum for the last 6 to 8 weeks.
In New Jersey, Governor Phil Murphy aims for a second term, but it's been more than 40 years since a Democratic incumbent governor won re-election there.
What we've been doing for the past 4 years is working, and that folks want to see more of it.
Other races include mayoral elections in some of America's biggest cities. In New York City, Brooklyn Borough President and former police captain Eric Adams is widely seen as the frontrunner. And in Boston, history will be made with either Michelle Wu or Anissa Essaibi George becoming the city's first woman and person of color to be elected.
I'm a mom with kids in our schools. I live in a multi-generational home. I've been in City Hall for 10 years now, seeing just how much power we have when city government steps up and connects with our communities.
Eyes also on Minneapolis as voters face a referendum on police reform following the May 2020 murder of George Floyd. In Washington, I'm Chris Wynn.
Minneapolis voters will make a decision today on whether to disband the city's police department and replace it with a Department of Public Safety. The push to remove the city's police started over a year ago after the death of George Floyd in Minneapolis. The judge opened court today on the trial of Kyle Rittenhouse in Kenosha, Wisconsin. Rittenhouse is charged with shooting and killing 2 men and injuring another. last year after the police shooting of Jacob Blake during protests in Kenosha, a part of the series of protests that spread across the country after Floyd's death. A then 17-year-old Rittenhouse at some point acquired a gun during his passage from his home in Illinois to Wisconsin. His lawyers argue that the killings were in self-defense. Rittenhouse pleads not guilty. If convicted, Rittenhouse faces a life in prison. Right-wing conservatives who celebrate his actions have covered much of his legal costs. President Biden announced a new plan today to prevent active military and veteran suicides. The plan includes a federal focus on firearm dealers with the help of the Department of Justice and the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives. President Biden also announced a federal push to get those at risk of suicide to voluntarily limit their access to anything that could be used for harm via the passing of a national red flag law. This would allow law enforcement to temporarily remove guns from people deemed at high risk of harming themselves or others. Biden's focus hasn't all been directed at military suicide prevention. He spent his last days at the UN Climate Summit in Glasgow, Scotland, announcing a new initiative to protect forests around the world. He explained the important role played by forests in capturing carbon and promoting biodiversity. Biden says his plan will take into account the needs of local communities. He is also expected to announce a new platform for building private sector to demand to accelerate clean energy technology innovation before leaving the summit. Coming
Hi. Can I get the now bar, please?
No problem. $1.
Have a good one.
Got it.
Hi, can I get a now bar, please?
$1.
Thanks.
Hey, what's going on?
Hey.
Hey, let me get a now bar.
Sure. $1.
Appreciate you.
You got it.
How's it going?
Can I get a now bar?
Hey, stop right there! Get down on the ground! Out of your car right, get down! Over your head!
Times during class, and I tell her to talk to him, and it's like, oh, ew.
It's time to make an informed decision about COVID-19 vaccines. The dangerous new Delta variant is more than twice as contagious as the original virus and can affect anyone. Right now, 9 out of 10 hospitalizations and deaths from COVID are among unvaccinated people. Getting vaccinated might save your life, and there's now an option that's fully approved by the FDA. Learn more at getvaccineanswers.org.
The Ole Miss offense has been decimated with injuries in recent weeks. Coach Kiffin talked to reporters this week about the health of his offense and how he wishes this weekend's game against Liberty was against an opponent no one knows, but instead he looks at it just like another SEC opponent with a first-round draft pick at quarterback.
For whatever reason, they're just all on offense.
And even some that are playing, like we know the quarterback, even some that are playing aren't close to 100% that are even playing. So, yeah, I would like this to be some opponent you'd never heard of before, that didn't have a first-round draft pick quarterback would be nice. But so it's basically like having another SEC game.
With the emotion Lane Kiffin expressed on this weekend's game, it will be interesting to see how their offense is able to give that 100% while Liberty sits at number 13 defensively. Heading into his 4th season with men's basketball, head coach Kermit Davis has agreed to a new 4-year contract today that runs to 2025. Over his first 3 seasons, Davis led the Rebels to a pair of postseason appearances, predicted to finish last in the SEC heading into his first year. Ole Miss exceeded those expectations, and the Rebels finished 6th in the conference and earned a berth to the NCAA tournament, while Davis collected SEC Coach of the Year along the way. With 51 victories as head coach, Davis is one of only 4 coaches in Ole Miss's history to rack up at least 50 wins over the first 3 seasons. The Rebel women's soccer team kicked off their SEC tournament in Orange Beach, Alabama today against the Alabama Crimson Tide. The Crimson Tide earned the number 6 seed in the SEC tournament with a win over Auburn on Thursday. Alabama finished with a 5-4-1 league record, winning 3 of their last 5 matches. The Rebels earned the number 3 seed in the tournament with 19 points, tied for the highest seed for Ole Miss since 2005. As the game came to a recent finish, the Rebels are walking away with a victory, defeating Alabama 1-0. That win moved the Rebs on to the semifinals, where they will face number 2 seed Tennessee on Thursday at 3:30 on the SEC Network. The Kansas City Chiefs and the New York Giants went head-to-head in Arrowhead Stadium last night, but the Giants feel short given a valiant effort, leaving the final score 20-17 Chiefs. Starting off the game, Mahomes completed his first 8 pass attempts, but threw another inadvertent interception shortly after that bounced off his receiver's face mask and into Julian Love's hands. Daniel Jones also got off to a rocky start as the Giants quarterback threw an interception on his first pass attempt of the game. Jones ended up throwing for 222 yards and completed 2 touchdowns this game, including one to former Ole Miss tight end Evan Ingram. Kansas City will face off against the Green Bay Packers this weekend, while the Giants will host the Las Vegas Raiders. And the World Series is coming near to a close as the Houston Astros and the Atlanta Braves are entering Game 6 tonight. The Braves lead the Astros 3-1 and are coming off a 9-5 loss at home in Game 5. As the series travels to H-Town, the Braves know that is to be an electric atmosphere. The Braves held a 4-run lead in the first inning of a potential World Series clincher Sunday and seemed their way onto the first title in 26 years. The Astros offense then came to a life and showcased its championship pedigree by rallying for a 9-5 win. Be sure to keep up with us this year's World Series by watching the Atlanta Braves take on the Houston Astros in Houston tonight at 8 p.m. on Fox. That's all I've got for sports. Make sure to follow us on Twitter at @Rebel_Watch for the latest sports updates.
Thanks, Grace. Quentin Tarantino is giving fans of Pulp Fiction an exclusive find out what he exactly is doing next on NewsWatch Ole Miss.
Be you, and you could be me for just 1 hour. If we could find a way to get inside each other's minds. If you could see you through my eyes instead of your ego, I believe you'd be surprised to see that you've been blind. Walk a mile in my shoes. Walk a mile in my shoes. Yeah, before you abuse, criticize and accuse. Walk a mile in my shoes. Walk a mile in my shoes. Well, before you abuse, criticize and accuse. Walk a mile in my shoes.
Freedom. It's at the core of who we are. The freedom to live without fear, to jog where we please, to wear a hoodie. The freedom to breathe. Before we celebrate the freedom most Americans have, we must fight for the freedom all Americans deserve. Because all lives can't matter until Black lives matter.
They gave me Vicodin after my knee surgery. They kept prescribing it, so I kept taking it. I didn't know it would be this addictive. I didn't know how far I'd go to get more.
Opioid dependence can happen after just 5 days. Know the truth, spread the truth.
We are rebels. For more than 160 years, we've been accomplishing the impossible, from conducting the world's first lung transplant to helping prove Einstein was right. From preserving the past to saving the future. We are Mississippi's flagship university, a place where passion and learning unite, where friends become family, where small-town charm meets world-class innovation. We are the University of Mississippi. We are Ole Miss.
We're all just trying to keep things running for those who rely on us.
Ready!
That's why we don't have time to be sick with the flu. And especially this year, no one has time to get sick. Get a flu shot for yourself and those around you too.
Quentin Tarantino, the two-time Academy Award-winning director and screenwriter, is selling NFTs of 7 original scenes of Pulp Fiction. An NFT, or non-fungible token, is a unique piece of virtual art that cannot be duplicated. Tarantino's NFTs also include excerpts from the original handwritten script and exclusive commentary from him. The auction is set to take place on the marketplace platform Opensa. Pulp Fiction isn't the first film to get into NFTs. MGM Studios and Vev Partners announced in September it was launching James Bond in NFTs from the recently released No Time to Die movie. Are you a Tarantino fan?
You know, I've only seen Django, but it's sounding like I need to start getting into it a little bit more.
Yeah, most of his stuff I watch more for how iconic it is than anything else. That's all for tonight. For NewsWatch Ole Miss, I'm Hannah Deere. Make sure to follow us on social media at NewsWatch Ole Miss for the latest updates on the Ole Miss Oxford community. Thank you and good night.